TOFU.com tournaments. Now we have a total of 10 bans, 5 per side. It was agreed upon after some discussion by the admins and most of the players. So on the blue team, we do have DGP5, standing for a double gold per fives. They have banned out Cassidon and then Jax as their second ban in chat. On the purple team, we do have Team TOFU, and they countered it with a Lulu ban along with a Jace ban. Nothing too particular, I should say. Out of these bans, a lot of them quite common. Cassidon, of course, has always been named as one of the most common bans in Dominion so far. I did get a chance to see a Cassidon though in Dominate Dominion, so I was quite surprised that both teams actually let that champion slip by, but oftentimes he will be banned out especially when you have 10 bans. After that, Lulu was the next ban coming out from Team TOFU. Lulu has really garnered a lot of attention. It used to just be a couple summoners using Lulu to her maximum potential, but through that, people are able to see that Lulu is one of the best support champions you can have in Dominion. She can do so much for the team, and she's quite mobile herself. She can also put out some good damage, and that's everything you really want on this map. She also has a long range for disruption and poke. So Lulu gets banned out, and then it's Jax and Jace, both quite the bruisers, big damage dealers, but they can also be slightly tanky. A little more so on Jax's side than Jace. Of course, Jax has the Grandmaster's Might for the extra tankiness, but both of them are quite mobile. They have a lot of damage. Jace, of course, has a lot of long-range damage with that Shock Blast, but Jax can also jump in with Counter Strike and Leap Strike. So those were the chat bans, and as I mentioned, there are 5 bans on each side now in this tournament. So we do have the 3 standard client bans as you see on screen. We do have Yorick, Alistar, and then Riven as the last ban coming out from Team Double Gold for 5s, and Team TOFU has finished it out with Urgot, Diana, and Pantheon. Again, all of them quite common, except of course for Diana, who is a relatively new champion, definitely the latest champion actually, as Rengar has not been released into the live client just yet, as far as I know. But Diana has really shined in actually all the maps so far. I can't remember if I've seen Diana really being played in Dominion yet with my own eyes, but she has a lot of power. There's been a lot of talk about her super mobile, and her burst is insane, especially if she can go in after that Crescent Slash to get that free reset on her ultimate. The damage is extreme, and then of course there's also the AoE disruption, and she can hop in and out. So anything like that you really want to beware of on this map on the Crystal Scar. Otherwise, Yorick, Urgot, Alistar, and Pantheon, all sort of tanky figures already. Of course, they all commit to different parts on the map, but all of them have some good disruption. Yorick, of course, can hold down that bot lane very well. Alistar can go top, has that disruption, has the tankiness, has the CC to really help with the team fights. And then Pantheon not only has a lot of damage, but also has that quasi-global ultimate to hop around and make sure that all the bases are covered. And Urgot, also a strong bot lane champion. And then the last one I didn't touch upon was Riven, who has just a lot of damage potential. She's also fairly mobile, but just her damage potential purely, and the fact that she also gets tanky through damage, is really what makes her shine. So some of the picks have come out now, and we do have Malphite was the first pick. Malphite did get by through the bans, but we've been noticing, especially now that the champion pool in League of Legends has gone over 100 champions, that even with 10 bans, there's some champions that a lot of teams just immediately want to pick out, unless they have, of course, very niche picks that they always like to have. A lot of these summoners have really made a name for themselves on this scene now. And you know for a fact, if they ever have a champion they like to play and it's not banned, even if it's not the most common pick, they'll pick that out. But if not, champions like Malphite, Wukong, they will be picked out quite easily, as we see in this matchup. Nautilus was actually picked up though with the first 2 picks coming up from Team TOFU. Have not seen a Nautilus yet in this tournament. Nautilus, of course, has a lot of CC, but is fairly slow and could take a little while to get started. And also, the beginning CC that Nautilus has really forces him to get in there without much tankiness to begin with, so we'll see how that works out for Team TOFU. The lineup for Team Double Gold for Fives on the blue team is now being rounded out. They have highlighted Udyr as their last pick, and it's going to be locked in. So the final lineup is Malphite, Maokai, Shen, Corki, and Udyr. That is one tanky team and a ton of AoE disruption, really. We have the Arcane Smash from Maokai, we have the Unstoppable Force, and then the Ground Slam, which also has that attack speed debuff coming out from Malphite. And then we have the Shadow Dash coming up from Shen. And Udyr, Bear Stance, while it's not AoE, he can really just bounce around in a team fight if it's in close quarters, which most fights on the Crystal Scar happen to be. So that's going to be quite a hard team to kill down. And then Corki they have as their main damage dealer, but also with good poke. This could turn out very well for Team Double Gold per 5s. However, on Team TOFU, we are seeing Ezreal as their main damage dealer and also kind of that slippery AD carry, as we like to say in this tournament. But then there's Singed, there's Nautilus, then there's Wukong, who isn't necessarily as tanky as some of these other figures, but still fairly good at being a just really good bruiser and has really, really good chasing ability. With that Nimbus Strike and then the Cyclone to catch up to the enemy damage dealer and then disrupt the entire team fight, reset everything, that's absolutely crucial. Couple that with Nautilus's Death Charge, his ultimate, that's going to be a lot of knockups. And then Amumu can come in. Amumu was just locked in as the last pick for Team TOFU. He gets his Curse of the Sad Mummy down. That is also a ton of AoE disruption. So both of these teams actually kind of mirroring each other in terms of composition. We do have Singed, who was the last one I didn't mention from Team TOFU. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. Both of them have somewhat of a main damage dealer on both sides, and then a lot of just disruption, a lot of tankiness. Neither team going for particularly that much mobility, and neither team really having a specific support or a champion that we usually see in a primarily support role either. So this is going to be, I think, a heavy fighting matchup. A lot of sieges going down, and both teams will be capable of taking that down. As we go into the delay, we can check out the summoner spells. For those of you who are new to Dominion, you will be surprised to see that there's a ton of Revive. As a matter of fact, every summoner has chosen to take Revive, and that's actually the most common summoner spell in higher tier Dominion play. Just what Revive has to offer is just that instant refresh on your timer, on your death timer. Along with that, if you get the match, you get the speed boost. So say if you lose one of your closer towers, say either the bottom tower or the middle towers next to your base, you can get right back in there. If you just are starting to lose a fight up top at the windmill, you can use Revive and get back up there, especially if you have a quasi-global ultimate. You can do instant disruption after your death. There's just a lot that comes with it, and as a lot of people like to say, no one has really found an answer to counter Revive directly in Dominion other than by using Revive yourself. Of course, certain summoners and certain champions, they have been able to get by without using Revive by just choosing a little bit more niche builds. However, most commonly you do take Revive. Other than that, we do see a cleanse on Corki. So Corki is looking just to be that main damage dealer. Despite all that disruption on his team, he sees that there's a Nautilus and there's an Amumu, there's a Singed, there's just a lot of slows, there's a lot of stuns. The knockups aren't going to help as much on that cleanse, or the cleanse isn't going to help as much rather for the knockups, but the stuns and slows, he's going to be able to get out of that just fine. After that, we do have only one Garrison, but two exhausts on Team Double Gold per 5s, and then a Ghost on Udyr. On the contrary, for Team TOFU, we do have an Ignite on Wukong. So Wukong really looking to be that bruiser, kind of anti-carry bruiser, diving in and dishing out the damage after using that Cyclone. And then we do have two Garrisons, so they do have a little bit more of a sieging opportunity should that happen. And that's going to be good for them, because for Team Double Gold per 5s, they have Maokai and his ultimate to siege well under a tower. So the double Garrison will allow them to draw out fights a little bit longer coming out from Team TOFU. After that, Ezreal actually takes Exhaust, which can be used, of course, offensively or defensively, and then Amumu also choosing to take Exhaust. Once again, this is Dominate Dominion number 18. My name is Chober. I will be your caster for the night. This is the first round match between Double Gold per 5 on the blue team and Team TOFU on the purple team. So get ready for an exciting matchup. If this is your first time watching Dominion, you are in for a treat tonight. Dominate Dominion tournament has just been ramping up the intensity level every week, so there should be some awesome games tonight throughout the tournament. Alright, so as we load in, we will get started with the tournament tonight. Once again, a little bit of a delay, but it's not going to be too big of a problem. And of course, one of our favorite moments when watching any tournament is to see what skins these summoners decide to bring out for their champions. So let's go ahead and take a look right here. We do have a couple, not too many, but we have Earthrider Corky, a huge fan favorite, especially ever since that sale that was relatively recent, within the past month or two, I would say. Of course, there's Pulsefire Ezreal, which a lot of people are saying might as well be his default at this point with how many people have bought him. And then there's the Augmented Singed, one of the more recent skins that have been released ever since Riot has changed to just a whole new bar for regular skin prices. You know, they release skins at $9.75 with new effects, with new voice acting. It's really, really great that they're making those changes. And so we have those skins to look at for fun, but of course the main part of this tournament is to look at the action, look at the strategy. And both of these teams are relatively new. There are some summoners that you might have seen around if you've been following the Dominion scene for quite a while now. But if I remember correctly, Team Double Gold Per 5's officially as this 5 lineup, they've only been in this tournament. This is their second week. So they showed up last week for Dominate Dominion number 17. They were taken out in round 2, I believe, by Death to Llamas. And on the flip side, for the purple team, we do have Team TOFU, where I've seen some of their names before, but as this lineup, their history only shows that this is their first week. So at least ever since the switch to being powered by Cybersports Network has happened, this is their first appearance as this lineup. So we do have some starting items coming out. Singed actually going for those Boots of Swiftness right away and not taking any other items. So he's just sitting there. Otherwise, we're not too surprised. We see a ton of Ruby Crystals. We actually see a Kindle Gem. Again, not too bad. That is a Nautilus, though. I am interested in seeing how this Nautilus goes onward from this build. And then we have some Prospector items. We have a double Doran Shield Malphite, who's going to be going up top, but also has his boots, so that's going to be just fine. It's going to be Maokai actually going bottom, it appears, and not Udyr, as I might have expected myself. So Maokai going bot, and is going to be going up against for a second I thought Nautilus glitched out of the barrier, but it's just him swimming in the air, and well, I guess he is swimming outside the barrier, but no game-breaking bugs right there. So Singed is going to be going bot to meet up with Maokai, and the platforms have finished in construction. Both teams are going to head out. Nothing too crazy here in the beginning moments of this game. We're going to be following 4 members from each team going towards the windmill. Of course, 1 member from each team, they're going to stop at their middle towers respectively. It's going to be the refinery for the blue team and the drill for the red team. And Udyr is actually going to get to the windmill first, but he's not going to get much channel time as he kind of dances back and forth, making sure he doesn't get hit by a poke from Ezreal, who is going to be a bit of a pain for this blue team early. His Mystic Shot is going to have longer range than, of course, the Phosphorus Bomb. And Amuma goes in with the Banish Loss. Red team going strong with that initiation. The exhaust goes on immediately onto Ezreal, but Ezreal should be able to take out Udyr with the help of Wukong, no problem. And red team is absolutely forcing blue team back. Nos is taking a ton of damage, but he just wants to make sure that blue team commits to running away as we see Ezreal channeling on this windmill. Can he finish the channel? Yes, the Seismic Shard comes in, but it's not enough. The windmill goes to red team immediately. Malphite's running quite low, and at this point, neither team really has to commit to a fight. They just want to regroup and take some time, but Udyr does want to get that kill onto Ezreal, and if they get a full cleanup right here, blue team may be able to recap this, but Nautilus has shown up with full health. The garrison goes down, and he's going to pick up 1 kill. Can he clean up this whole fight, or at least hold on long enough for his team to show back up? The tower damage is too much for blue team to handle. They're going to have to back off. As tanky as these champions may be, there aren't many items on them at this point. So with that early capture, it's really advantageous for the red team, and Ezreal actually chases off Udyr. He is a little bit sandwiched right now, but Wukong comes in with the decoy. He's going to Nimbus Strike over the wall. Ezreal picks up the kill with that Mystic Shot into Essence Flux. Wukong dueling up there, and meanwhile, Amumu actually jumps over with the Bandage Toss and picks up the kill on Shen. So we have Team TOFU marking their advantage quite confidently in the beginning moments of this match. They do have a lead, but of course, it's not going to be too much unless they can hold on to it for a long extended period of time, and we do see Udyr wanting to break the focus of the game right now. Udyr is going to go ahead and start channeling onto the drill, but Nautilus is here, and there's the depth charge. Udyr is not going to be able to get away. There's the slow, and this Udyr gets anchored right back into... Oh wow, the bear stance actually might save him. He's going to get away with turtle stance for now, unless we see another pull coming in from Nautilus. Udyr is down. No, Nautilus is going to stop the chase as he sees that there is a little bit of a siege going down up top on the windmill. The True Shot Barrage will not hit anyone. Corki going to be able to dance right back out of that pathway, and Ezreal sitting quite low. The Storm Shield is doing quite a lot of work for Corki and the blue team overall. He's going to Valkyrie over, but there's a Curse of the Sad Mummy. It's not going to be enough. Actually, Corki will go down, but he's going to trade kills with Ezreal. Meanwhile, Nas was taking quite a bit of damage, but he's actually going to make sure Malphite stays in tower range. Can they pick up the kill? Yes, they will pick up yet another kill, and Shen now in a lot of danger. Moon is going to chase through, but here comes Udyr full health, and this Nautilus is in a lot of trouble. He finally goes down. Moon not able to chase through onto Shen. The minion actually blocking him completely in. He was caught in between these champions, but there's the Nimbus Strike picking up one kill, and the Cyclone. Can they catch up to this Udyr? The Bear Stance may be a little bit too much for Wukong, but there comes the Nimbus Strike, but he doesn't have any form of slowing right now. He doesn't have a phage or such item, so he's going to back off right away. But this has allowed Team TOFU to get a significant lead within the first minute after their capture. They're now sitting at almost about a 100-point lead. And so we'll see if Team TOFU can keep this up. Amumu is sitting slightly low in health, and he's not going to be able to really commit to this fight. His ultimate is still on cooldown. It's really up to Wukong. And Wukong's ultimate is also on cooldown. Not a good place to be for Team TOFU, especially as the windmill has been marked as the objective. So we do see both teams coming in for a fight, and Nautilus goes right in, but Ezreal is going to get caught by Shen in that Shadow Dash. Corki is putting out some free damage. Nautilus finally focuses him down with that crowd control. Look at this health on the red team. They're all running so low. The Bruisers are going to go down in front of Ezreal, and even if Ezreal survives, he's not going to have much to do, but Shen goes down. Actually, they're going to turn this around with the help of Amumu still staying alive, and Ezreal's going to be able to pick up some kills from long range. A triple kill going down, especially with that Storm Shield. The AoE damage is going to help him so much. Triple kill, allowing them to hold on to that and hold on to that point up top, and Ezreal going to try to start channeling onto this refinery. He should be able to actually get a neutralize, in fact, but I'm not quite sure if he'll be willing to stay for a little bit more of a channel. No, he should be backing up. There we go. He's going to Arcane Shift right on out of there. Meanwhile, bot lane, we haven't really given them much love here in the bot lane. Nothing really happening. Both champions very willing to just push. They are quite good at sustaining in the lane on their own, and they're also pretty good at pushing each other's minion waves out. Singed seems to have a little bit of an advantage, but neither champion really showing too much aggression. They're content to just hold the lane. And at this point, it's really up to Team Double Gold per 5s to switch something up. They've tried to siege down onto this windmill. As a matter of fact, that last fight, statistically speaking, they had the upper hand, but they weren't able to take this out, so they may need to look for either a lane swap or maybe just a complete different focus. Send a couple people down into bot lane for a gank, but Nautilus is actually going to get caught here, and this is going to be good for Team Double Gold for 5s. They take out Nautilus right away. His revive is not up, and in fact, they're going to go straight for the drill. They're going to ignore the windmill because the red team did have a superior position there, a defensive stance, and they're going to go ahead and neutralize this very quickly. They might be able to even get the whole capture as Shen breaks off to make sure that Ezreal does not come in and disrupt all three people. There's the final 3 count for Team Double Gold per 5s, but now can they hold on to this? They need to be able to transition quickly into the windmill to remain a 3 cap, as right now they don't have the resources to really stay at the drill. But Amumu actually gets caught, and he's going to go down. That's very unfortunate for Team TOFU, as now Team Double Gold per 5s has an absolute lead in terms of making the plays. They're going to be able to capture this objective. They're going to get the damage buff, and they'll be sitting quite happily on top in terms of current standings. Of course, point-wise, they are a little bit behind. They have some catch-up to do. but they should be fine as long as not all of them retreat. They want to hold on to this point as long as they can. We do see Wukong hiding in this tri-brush in the middle here, but he's just making sure he catches vision of anyone, setting something up from Team Double Gold for 5s. No one else is there to make any plays for Team TOFU just yet. Singe, meanwhile, doing some good damage onto Maokai, but he needs to watch out. Shen is coming down from Team Double Gold for 5s. Will Shen be spotted? Not just yet, but he's going to run right into Singe, and there's the exhaust, there's the Shadow Dash, but he's not going to have enough damage on his own to take him down. Singe will get out of there just fine. Meanwhile, top, we do have a fight going down. Crystal Sand Mummy goes down. Ezreal picks up a quick kill after Amumu with those tears, and Malphite is alone trying to defend this. Again, they weren't able to hold on to the advantage as much as they needed to coming here from Team Double Gold for 5s. TOFU was able to push back immediately. Shen and Malphite trying to chase her, but look at the damage Ezreal is doing onto this Malphite. Malphite only has that Glacial Shroud, while Ezreal has a Sheen and a Brutalizer. He's just going to chunk down until Malphite can get that full Frozen Heart, and maybe a little bit more even, especially with that Storm Shield. So we do see Team Double Gold per 5s here making their way back up top. And it's just Udyr and Corki, though. They want to make sure they don't get caught right now. If Amumu and Nautilus get a hold of them, Wukong is just going to be able to burst them down immediately, even without Ezreal right there. Malphite has finally shown up. It is a 3v3 until Ezreal makes his way up top. Meanwhile, bottom, it's still a 2v1, and Team Double Gold for 5s is spending so many resources trying to stop this Singe, and meanwhile top lane, they're going to fight an outnumbered fight. If Wukong gets in here in time before Amumu dies, this will be a terrible fight for Team Double Gold for 5s. Amumu does go down eventually, but Wukong has joined the fray. Ezreal will actually get shut down by Malphite, and Nautilus actually gets melted immediately by Corki. This time they weren't able to really zone out the enemy team. All the damage was free coming out from Double Gold for 5s. And Udyr actually going for a little bit of a dive onto this Wukong. He wants to make sure that Wukong doesn't think about picking up any kills. Udyr looking to see if by any chance Wukong didn't take the health relic, but of course that won't be the case. Here comes the ghost. Can Udyr get this kill? No, he's gonna get stopped under the tower, and there's the kill going down for Wukong. A little bit greedy on Udyr's part, but he did keep Team TOFU busy enough for his teammates to pick up the windmill once again. So we see Nautilus going through that speed shrine. He's going to go on ahead in front of Amumu and Ezreal. He gets the hit, and there's the depth charge onto Corki. They want to make sure this time they keep him locked down. There's a True Shot Barrage, hits both champions. This should be a free kill onto Corki. The Banish Toss lands. That is one dead Corki. Shen's going to be the next target. The Curse of the Sand Mummy is back up. They might be able to pick up all 3 kills here, even with Udyr showing up. It's going to be a 3v2. Wukong has shown up. They're going to pick up the kill onto Malphite. Udyr not in a good spot. He just needs to retreat, but he doesn't have an option. He's going to get locked down by the Cyclone, and then Nautilus's auto attack, which with the passive provides a slight mini stun. Team TOFU pushing it right back on out. They're going to get the 3 cap and potentially a 4 cap for a little bit if they choose to stay and defend this refinery. We do see Amumu has gone up to the windmill to get that capture back. We do have the 3 remaining members here defending the refinery. They may need to give this up. They should be able to get the 3 cap nonetheless by Amumu, excuse me, tripping over my words, but Nautilus is going to get taken down. Once again, Corki was free to do a lot of damage. They were too busy trying to protect Ezreal. Ezreal was zoned out by Malphite. They were fighting the start from a little bit behind in terms of health and mana, so they didn't really get to play to their best potential as they have been in earlier fights. Corki puts out free damage onto several champions, and they'll be able to take back the refinery. Meanwhile, bottom actually has been neutralized. The Boneyard getting neutralized by Maokai and his creeps, and Singe just trying to chase him away, but he needs to remember to recap this Boneyard. And top, the windmill being a little bit pressured right now by Team Double Gold provides, but Shen needs to watch out. He's running quite low, so despite this being an outnumbered fight, can they do a lot? No, Shen's going to be completely ignored. Corki will go down to the tower, though. Excellent True Shot Brush being lined right up to the crowd control coming out from Nautilus and Amumu. There's a Curse of the Sand Mummy. As a matter of fact, can all this crowd control hold onto this windmill? Yes, a double kill going down for Nautilus, and Ezreal should be able to pick up this. As a matter of fact, Amumu picks it up. Amumu is still alive. No lives lost on Team TOFU. They're going to be able to push back onto Double Gold provides. No issue right there. Wukong and Ezreal at full health. They're trying to pinch down to Corki. Wukong's actually going to start making his way bot. They've realized that Maokai's been pressuring that bottom lane quite a bit, and so Team TOFU, they're feeling quite confident. They have the ability to protect their windmill with only about 3 people depending on who it is, so they're going to focus down there. The Boneyard is still neutralized, but at the moment it's only Ezreal, so I would have to say Double Cobra 5 has this in the bag. They're going to go ahead and pick up that kill, no problem right there. Nas tries to shove, tries to defend it, but he's not going to have the AoE to clear the wave. The tower will get neutralized before anything else happens. The True Shot Barrage comes out, but it's not going to touch them nearly enough as the crowd control just isn't there to keep up the damage. Amumu's just going to back off smartly before committing too hard to an already lost fight. So we have Ezra actually gets caught by the Shadow Dash over the corner. The Valkyrie's actually doing some DOT along with the burst damage coming out from Corki. Udyr picks up the kill. Great Shadow Dash right at the corner of that turnaround. And Team Double Cobra 5 is back in the game. They still have quite a bit of catching up to do, but they're playing a lot cleaner now. They're the ones who are zoning out Ezreal. They're the ones who are picking off members of Team TOFU and playing as a team. And that's what we saw from TOFU earlier, but they seem a little scattered right now. They need to take some time to group up and really work as a team, set some plays up rather than just saying, hey, I'm going to go to this point while you go there. They were a little bit perhaps overconfident in the beginning. They do catch Malphite, but Udyr and Corki right behind. It's quickly a 4v3 as Amumu also shows up. The Curse of Sand Mummy goes down, but the Gatling gun is still going. Malphite is going to pick up that kill. True Shot Barrage comes out, but it does not hit Corki. Corki's still doing free damage onto Nautilus. Amumu is running quite low, but Udyr needs to run out as Ezreal has shown up. It's still a 3v2 in favor of Team Double Cobra 5. Amumu will go down. Shen trying to chase down this Ezreal. Can they catch up? Wukong has shown up, so they do need to retreat. Corki would be able to take down Wukong if there's enough crowd control, but Ezreal's also at full health. Is this going to be a good fight? There's the Unstoppable Force and the Valkyrie doing damage over time while the Gatling gun is going. The auto attacks coming out from Corki. Phosphorus Bomb picks up the kill onto Ezreal. The Cyclone comes out from Wukong, but I don't think it will be enough. Corki lives with only 250 health, but he's going to get caught by Amumu as he tries to pour back without moving away. Amumu with the bandage toss will pick up the kill and go straight for the windmill back for Team TOFU. We do see Malphite has shown, or no, it's Udyr who has shown up top, but it is quickly a 2v1. Shen needs to get here as soon as possible. Udyr bouncing back and forth between the champions, making sure he keeps them disrupted. And there's the Shadow Dash, putting out some good tower damage onto this poor mummy as he retreats, crying all over the place. Take a quick look at the itemization. Corki has a Triforce on top of a BF sword, while Ezreal only has that Triforce and a pickaxe and longsword, so he actually has opted to sell his brutalizer and now going straight for that last whisper. We see that, of course, the members of... Oh, that's a great disrupt coming out from Corki with that missile barrage, making sure Ezreal is not able to pick up the Storm Shield, but Team Double Cobra 5 has picked up a lot of armor, so Ezreal deciding that he needs to start gearing forward the later portion of the game is going to switch that Brutalizer out for that last Whisper, and a fight does occur. They are all bunched up, but it is Malphite who's going to successfully push out Ezreal. Meanwhile, though, that leaves the entire team of Team TOFU to catch up to Corki, and now Malphite's going to take some free damage as he tries to come back into the fight. Ezreal's going to have a field day with this. He puts out a lot of damage, but it's not just Ezreal. All of the teammates from Team TOFU putting out good crowd control. They're stacking it quite well and putting out very, very well done damage. Ezreal is just going to make sure that Malphite is zoned right in his own tower at the refinery and letting his teammates capture a free windmill. Meanwhile, Singed has constantly been pushing bot. The objectives have been the bot lane towers for quite a while now, so this quarry is just looking so delicious for Singed, but of course he's not going to be able to really dive it too confidently just 1v1. If they want this objective, either team is going to need to send some backup, but at this point, Team TOFU, they don't really need the buff. They're doing quite well for themselves once again. They're feeling confident. They just need to hold tight onto the lead, but Nas is going to get cut off as he tries to join his teammate Amumu. He's going to get bursted down immediately. The Randuin's going to keep him locked down. Wukong goes in with a Nimber Strike, and there's the Cyclone, but now he's the one caught behind. Each of them going in a little bit too much one by one. Wukong might go down here. The Bear Stand's coming out once again, but he's quite tanky. He will survive, but they've seen that True Shot Barrage come down. They want to turn back around for Ezreal. No, Ezreal's already going to be in safety, so they say, you know what, take the speed try and go straight up for the windmill and get that 3 cap back for ourselves. They've closed the score gap quite a bit. Meanwhile, bot lane, Singed is running kind of low, but the mana is a tight resource for Maokai. There's the ultimate, the Insanity Potion from Singed, and he's going to stay there just fine. Meanwhile, top lane, everyone running quite low, but Ezreal's going to pick up the kill. Shen is going to save Corki. Can they push this back around? Ezreal is still bouncing backwards with that arcane shift, and Amumu is still alive. There's the exhaust. Amumu will survive this fight as Ezreal picks up the kill. No, actually Amumu will pick up the double kill, landing his tantrum against Shen. great fights just coming out back and forth. Both teams just barely winning fights on both sides. Both teams have won fights where they shouldn't have, just based on items, based on positioning, based on the resources they started the fight with. But in the end, Team TOFU is still holding on to the lead. However, Double Gold Profiles, as I mentioned, has caught up quite a bit, and they still are in the game. You can't count anyone out in Dominion until the very last second. A True Shot Barrage actually coming out, but it's not going to connect with anyone, nor was there a disruption that needed to be had other than, of course, the Storm Shield, which was taken a little bit earlier by Corky. So a little unfortunate that Ezreal is not going to have that giant AoE damage for this next fight, but they do have the tower advantage. So if Team TOFU just plays this patiently, I mean, Singe is completely pushed up in the bot lane. If it stays a 4v4 top, all TOFU needs to do is stay under the tower. All they need to do is make sure they don't lose it. They don't need to completely decimate the enemy team. They don't need to push them back all the way. They just need to make sure they can remain on the tower. The Arcane Shift is going to get away from Udyr and Shen just in time, but Amumu goes in. They're fighting off the tower. This is not where they want to fight, but a good Curse of the Sand Mummy comes in. Malphite goes right back in with the Unstoppable Force, but once again, Team TOFU just has better anti-carry abilities. Wukong sticking on to this Corky. Ezreal, meanwhile, takes down Udyr. And Wukong's actually going to take down Shen first, and there is the True Shot Barrage, and there's the Malphite that's going to get taken down. Double kill going to Wukong. A 4-for-0 trade in favor of Team TOFU. Great fight. I was hoping that they would really just play passive, but Amumu decided that they needed to take some action. Went in there with an excellent Curse of the Sad Mummy. Not only was it great because he caught everyone, but it forced them to stay in a very narrow area. That meant that the Cyclone afterwards is going to connect excellently. The True Shot Barrage, which was fired a little bit late, but still, there wasn't much room for Team Double Gold Profiles to escape from all of that damage. Amumu, the lone man, standing here at the windmill, but will be joined by his monkey friend here quite soon. Wukong has shown up now, and the windmill is once again safe. Amumu actually going to catch Shen with the bandage toss. Udyr is also up there. Ezreal is here. The Shadow Dash lands, and there's the exhaust, so Ezreal's going to have to back out for just a second. He turns right back around. As soon as the exhaust ends, he's going to have the full damage output, and things are not looking good for Team Double Gold for 5. Team TOFU is just pushing out. The Curse of the Sad Mummy is back up. The shutdown does go down to Corky, but a double kill with that True Shot Barrage coming out from this Ezreal, and they are sticking onto this Malphite. He is so tanky, but it's still a 3v1. No matter how tanky you are, 3 people are just too much to handle, and Ezreal and Wukong going to keep pushing. They know they have the advantage now. They know that the revives probably aren't up. They've been used in, I believe, about 2 fights ago. So we're going to see all 3 members actually channel down onto this refinery. Udyr does stop the capture from the neutralize, and that's going to actually force the Cyclone to come out from Wukong. I don't know if Team TOFU wants to stay on fight, though. So Ezreal is going to go ahead and back up. The minions have pushed up, but they don't want to stay too long and risk anything. They have a lead right now. They just need to hold on to it. It's 2:14 to 30. They just need to hang on for 30 more seconds, and the victory is in the bag. Ezreal needs to make sure that Udyr does not get too much of a channel here. He needs to keep poking back and forth. There we go, across the wall. Very well played by Ezreal. He needs to make sure he also doesn't get caught. Once again, just need to hang on to this lead for a few more seconds, and the victory is in the bag for Team TOFU, and they will be able to move on to round 2. But if Ezreal gets caught, he's running low on mana. If he gets caught and bursts it down, and Team Double Gold Profiles is able to capture it, they have one last shot in maintaining a catch-up game, but Ezreal's gonna blink over the wall, and the tower has no one channeling onto it. There's still 10 seconds left, but it's not going to be nearly enough for Team Double Gold Profiles. The tower is still standing, and there's so much disruption coming out from Team TOFU. They're actually pushing back in this fight. Double kill going down for Amumu. Ezreal's just going to stand there and start shooting at this ninja who's slowly walking towards him. Triple kill going down for the Sad Mummy. Good games are coming out, and Team TOFU carries the victory to go on to round 2 over Team Double Gold Profiles.